What's up, YouTube? This is Bystander X89, guys. Today I'm coming to my latest Banlist prediction video for the upcoming March 2021 Banlist. I'm here on the official Banlist page of the Yu-Gi-Oh website, and we can see that the next Banlist is not coming no sooner than March 1st, 2021. Now, the last Banlist didn't really do that much. A lot of the bands were kind of seen by everybody coming. True King's Return did come down the list to 2, and we got a lot of cards off the list, which not bad moves. The list didn't really do that much, primarily because Konami didn't have a lot of data based off of the remote duels that they were having online. That being said, after this list's release, there were other remote duel extravaganzas. And I think there was one in December, one in January, and there's going to be one this month. So that means, there's going to be a lot more data for Konami to chew on, and they're going to have a lot more information to help formulate an even better list. Now, me myself have been paying attention to a lot of the meta lately, and I think I picked up on a few cards that need to be hit. So let's just jump right into things right away, and I'm going to start with my band section, and of course, Soul Eating over Raptor going to 0 is my take. I know it's at 1 over in OCG, but in my opinion, this card just does so much for the dinosaur deck, and dinosaurs need a hit in some ways, fashion. I don't think putting this card in 1 will really do anything for the dinosaur deck. It won't really cripple it or anything. The plays will still be the same. It's just the focus will be getting this guy out faster. With that being said, putting this guy to 0 would actually make the dinosaur deck evolve in a different direction, and I think that might be the best idea for the deck right now. Moving forward, we have True King of all Calamities. This card is a very impressive card, and people have been calling on its ban for a while now. Can stop monster effects or attacks of a particular tribute, and to be honest, that could be very problematic. I know Virtual World is the one that can actually really spam this card out. I've seen Virtual World extra decks having 2 copies of this card in their deck, which means if you get over 1, odds are there's going to be a second one coming out soon, and you're going to be in the same position. So I think it's time for this card to go. Sad to see it go, but its time is up. And speaking of which, it's going to have to take you to Zexel along with it, primarily because if you thought Calamities was bad, Zexel's even worse, because Zexel just prevents your opponent from basically responding to anything you do during the turn you activate its effect. That's monsters, spells, trap effects, anything. So and not only that, but there's also an FTK surrounding this card. So if this card goes out and this card takes its place and becomes meta, we're going to have to deal with another FTK. And I can tell right now, Konami's not going to want that. They hate FTKs. So, ban both these cards at once and be done with it. The next card I'm going to 0. Question on Hacker for Rex. I don't think this is a surprise. Since its release, the secret engine has been crammed into everything. And you don't know how annoying it is to see the same engine, the same place in every single deck. That being said, it'll be just a little bit close to a year since this card's been released. I think this card came out maybe like the 3rd week in March of 2020. And since then, it's been warping the construction of decks around it. And that's one of the rules that Konami bases on whether or not to ban the card on. So, yes. Its time is up. It's time to get it out of the game, because if the ban list does shift the meta, we don't want it going back to shoving everything into one. Shoving the secret engine into every deck again. So, no. Hacker Rex ban. Goodbye. And the next card would be Redeyes Fusion. A lot of people have been asking about a way to deal with Dragoon. A lot of people say, you get rid of Predator on account that it's not an issue. No, it's still an issue because Redeyes Insight is still a card. Insight will basically push the main deck slots of the Dragoon engine up from 3 to probably 7. Redeyes Insight is a 1-card Dragoon. If you guys don't know, you activate this card, you pitch a Redeyes card from your deck to your graveyard, you search out Redeyes Fusion, and then you activate Redeyes Fusion to get the Dragoon. That being said, I think Redeyes Fusion being banned would be the best play to keep Dragoon splashable. I don't think Redeyes Dragoon is that problematic outside of it, so those are my bans: Soul Eating Raptor, Calamities, Zexel, Macrocosmos, and Redeyes Fusion. Going to the limits, we have both Glow Up Bulb and Jet Synchron. Now, both of these cards could be considered one-card combo pieces to actually get up to True King Calamities, but Calamities is banned, and their enabler, Christian Macrocosmos, also I have being banned as well. So having these cards at one each, not a bad thing. They'll help synchro decks be able to combo off and do what it plays what they need to. And they're very good cards for synchro-based decks. Olion and Steam the Cloak won't be coming off the ban list, primarily because Konami doesn't like the fact that they generate tokens. And Destrudo is just too powerful of a card to really bring back, and it'll add a piece into Dragon Links, and Dragon Links haven't been doing anything this format, so let's leave Dragon Links where they are right now. Okay, now we're going to turn around and do Virtual World Mayahime Lulu at 1. This is a linchpin card for the Virtual World deck. It does a lot, just like Soul Eating Raptor, although since Virtual World is a little bit newer than the Dinosaur deck is, I think probably putting this card to 1 at the worst case scenario. Best case scenario will probably be the 2, because it allows you to set up your plays for your Virtual World deck, and putting this card to 1 will definitely rein in the Virtual World. I know there's also new support coming in future sets, so you're going to get more pieces to be able to play through a lot more other things. So putting at least a linchpin card like this at 1 or 2 wouldn't be bad. So if we touch Virtual World, we have to touch Dryden and Cyber Angel Ben 10. Just having 3 copies of this card in a Dryden deck gives you access to things like the Herald of Perfect Ultimateness or Vanity's Ruler, which can then turn around and become super oppressive for your opponent. Putting this card to 1 definitely will force a Dryden player to choose what path they want to go to. And then they'll just have to rely more on their main deck monsters or the other monsters to really get things done. Moving forward, Heavy Metal Foes Electromite. Again, next core booster set we're getting Metal Foes support, so definitely Metal Foes Electromite coming on the 1 would be the best idea. In my opinion, this will add a lot to a lot of different Pendulum decks. And yeah, you get this card and this card alone, and it'll just, like I said, it adds a lot to Pendulum decks, and this card by itself would be more than enough for Pendulum players. Moving on to spells. Fire aforementioned Tinky to 1. The primary reason is because I'm seeing the Zodiac engine starting to climb into a lot of different decks. And to be honest, I don't like Zodiacs. The engine is an 8-card engine. It's basically 4 Zodiac monsters with different names, 3 Tankies, and 1 Barrage. Putting this card down to 1 would definitely take the splashability of the engine out of play, and it'll also put the pure Zodiac deck in check. And to be honest, I don't want that Zodiac deck being cancerous in the meta again. So it rose up, it gets hammered back down. Moving on, next spell card being put to 1 would be Magical Meltdown. Before the Synchro engine became a thing, this was the big engine to have in a lot of different decks. Majority of players will agree that Magical Meltdown at 1 would be the best thing because it searches out Alistair Invoker, which can search out your invocation and get the engine going. It also protects fusion summons from being negated, or cards that would go after your fusion monster. It'll stop them. So yeah, taking that protection away can make the engine a little bit more fair, in my opinion. And that's pretty much it for the limits. Glow Up Bulb, Jet Synchron, Virtual World, Cyber Asia Bell 10, Electromite, Tanky, and Magical Meltdown all should go to 1. Going to my semi-limits, you have Dynamite Knight, the True Tricker Fire. Now, whether or not True King Return comes off the list completely or stays there, Dynamite Knight, the True Tricker Fire, needs to come down the list because now that we have more traps for the Draco deck, we could be running more copies of him, and it'll be just allow the Draco deck to have extra bodies, and that's really the Draco deck needs. They need extra bodies in their decks, so definitely getting this guy at multiples wouldn't be that much of a bad thing. Moving forward, now this is a mistake that was made on the September list of last year. To be very honest, a lot of people thought that this signaled that Konami was soon to release Crossout Designator. Unfortunately, it never came to the TCG last year, and we don't know if it's going to be coming out anytime soon. I think the best place to look for it would be in the Ice Barrier structure deck, because it was in that structure deck in the OCG. Although TCG Konami does have that habit of swapping cards out of the OCG decks when they release it here in the TCG. So, regardless whether or not we get Cross the Designator, this card at 1 is just too hard of a hit, because a lot of the decks that really need the protection it provides were hurt by this. That being said, if 3 is considered too many and 1 is too hard, the only other place would be to put it at 2. And I think 2 would be a fine place to keep this card, whether we get Cross the Designator or not. Even the OCG put this card at 2 on their last list. And in my opinion, that is the smart move to do here. Moving forward, Cyber Emergency. Again, this is another hit towards Dryden, just to reduce the consistency of the deck. All the Dryden monsters have to be special summoned to get them on the field, so this card is a natural searcher. I think it was also in Genesis Impact as a super rare as well. So, yeah, it's time to actually put this card and to rein in the consistency of the Dryden deck a little bit. Moving forward, other spells, we have Invocation. To be very honest, I feel that the Invoked Engine, this card at 2 would be the best case scenario. 1 Magical Meltdown, this card at 2. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if you're ever facing the Invoked Engine, they activate Alistair, you ash to Alistair, and all of a sudden they just drop the invocation they had in hand. It kind of gets at you and it kind of burns you up from the inside. It's an annoying play. I know putting it at 2 won't solve the play, but at least it makes it less likely to happen. So, yes. Let's keep it at 2, and it'll be fine. I have Salmon Great Circle. I know it's limited here, but it's semi-limited over in the OCG, and Salmon Greats aren't doing anything right now at all. Primarily because a lot of the hand traps, they're attacking the graveyard, and Salmon Greats need the graveyard, so you see what I'm getting at? A deck like Salmon Greats won't really do very well with the selection of the current hand traps. Give the deck a little bit extra consistency or protection. Not a bad move. It's that 2 in the OCG, and Salmon Greats aren't doing anything in the OCG at all. So, yes, just give them back to Circle at 2, and let's let the deck have another piece back. And speaking about giving pieces back to another deck, Skystriker multi-roll going down to 2 would also be a good idea. If you actually look at the OCG list, they have Kagari at 1, Engage at 1, but this card and Widow Anchor are both at 2. We have Widow Anchor at 3. This card could easily go on the 2, give the deck a little bit more of its grind game. I know the deck can actually do a lot of different things in the meta because it is a control-based deck. It's not really combo-based, but hey, we're in a control-based meta. This deck is typically seen at regional level, so it can win, but it doesn't have all the pieces to really win consistently. I don't see this card being a problem at 2. They're just giving you the deck a little bit more of a grind game and helping mitigate potential losses, especially since the deck has to rely on Pot of Desires now. Moving forward, we also, to my unlimits, well, for the semi-limits, just go quick over. Dynamite, Call By, Cyber Emergency, Invocation, Salmon Great Circle, as well as multi-roll, all should go to 2. For our limits, Dual Orland, primary reason why Dual Orland should be coming off the list is because it is getting an errata in the Highest Barrier structure deck. It's now this is a hard once per turn effect. So it's not like how they did with Brionic. It's now you can only use this card effect once per turn and that's it. So it's not bad. I have a feeling this card's going to come off the list. And a few other cards that I feel that should be coming off the list would be Macrocosmos. Again, anytime you have a meta where you have graveyard dependent decks, this card coming down the list would actually be a great counter for a lot of different rogue decks, and it would be a great interesting side deck card to have as well. It just keeps people a little bit honest because it affects both players, and to be honest, you can even get you a free monster on the field if you want to use that monster to link summon. So yeah, bring this card down. And last but not least, I've been calling for this card to be released off the limit list for so long. And to be very honest, what this game needs is we need blanket effect negation. We can't just turn around and rely heavily on a lot of different other cards. I know this card coming off the list is a long shot because it just released another floodgate in the upcoming booster set. FYI, that floodgate sucks. I mean, it shuts your opponent's monster's effects down during your turn, so you can play uninterrupted. But however, during your opponent's turn, it does the same thing to you. So yeah, it's not that good. It allows you to build a field and not have to worry about your opponent interfering. But then it's the same thing, and it's good. I just don't think that's a very good card. The consensus is that it sucks, and I agree. I just rather have skill drain, negate all monster effects on the field, ba-boom, be done with it. Again, this is a long shot. I don't think it's going to come off, but still, it would be nice to have a powerful floodgate backers in this game. Guys, that is it for my coming off the list, Dual Orlin, Macro, and Skill Drain. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want me to see more content like this on my channel, make sure to subscribe, enable notifications so you don't miss any uploads. Check out the description box below. Find the invite link to my Discord server. Join a conversation. We'd love to have you. Support my affiliates, sidedeckversus.com and tcgplayer.com. And as always, guys, until next time, peace.